Dumb, cool,
and weird
podcast. All right, folks, welcome to the very first episode of the Dumb, Cool, Weird podcast. And we're going to start with being a millennial in high school and college, which is something that a lot of people could relate to. I was born in 89. Nick was born in 93.
Yeah.
So this is basically kind of a cool thing because I'm a middle-of-the-road millennial, and he is a later millennial. So this will be a really cool perspective, I think. If you haven't done it already, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our podcast channel. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that bell notification and be sure to check out our Patreon account. And be sure to check out our website, www.dumbcoolweird.com. Check out our merch store. We have all kinds of really cool-ass shit on there.
Yeah.
So, anyway, getting to this topic. Nick.
Yeah.
What was high school like for you?
Kind of dumb.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to say I was popular with people, but at the same time, man, I wasn't like real. I was kind of a loner.
Yeah.
You know, I just kind of just existed in the inner workings and fabrics of that high school.
Okay.
I was like, you know, just that kid, just a fat kid with a shaved head and some Doc Martens. Kind of looked like a skinhead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But no, yeah, but it was kind of funny because it was like that. If you just looked at me from an outside perspective, that's what you would think. But then you'd see my friends, and you're like, oh, he's not a douchebag. He's pretty cool. He's the fat stoner who likes his McDonald's.
I didn't realize you were a stoner.
No, not really. I would say more of a drinker even in high school. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah, it was nothing crazy like that. Didn't smoke too much. Wasn't exactly my thing.
Mm.
But you'd think I was because of how stupid I was.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, for me, I was an athlete. I was, at that point, I'd played football for like 5 or 6 years. So I went into high school as a freshman football player, and I had weight training from freshman year all the way up to 12th grade year, which at my school, being in weight training was something, if you were normal, not in sports, you couldn't do it till you were in 11th grade, but because I was a football player, I got it instantly. I was a pretty popular guy in high school. People liked me. A lot of people thought I was kind of weird, but they liked me at the same time. They thought I was kind of funny guy.
I would have to say the same.
Yeah.
Over here.
Yeah.
Odd but funny.
Yeah. So I just remember like having these misconceptions about what it meant to be in high school coming from middle school. Those misconceptions were, some of them were true, but a lot of them were not true at all. So it's just that transition from being a kid to being a young adult is like such a weird part of your life, you know, because your hormones are going crazy.
All you want to do is masturbate and fuck, and you can't focus on math class.
Yeah, pretty much. I was in college prep courses.
Oh, okay.
I was wanted to go to college. You know, when it came to football, I wasn't really that like passionate about football like my friends were. I kind of wish I was a little bit more. Maybe I would have done better in football if I would have been a little bit more passionate about it. But I just remember it was fun. Like I had a lot of fun. I always went to parties a lot in high school. I always got invited to a lot of parties, and that was always fun. I always enjoyed myself every time I would go. I mean, I lost my virginity when I was 15 years old. This is a funny story. My friend had us get picked up by these two 18-year-old girls. Me and him, I was 15, he was 16. They had sex with us, which is like technically illegal, actually.
Yes.
He was downstairs with the other girl, and I was up in the girl's attic. I just remember she laid me down. She put a condom on my dick, and she was like, well, I'm going to show you a really good time. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, boy.
And she just like, I don't know, she just went to town on me. And I had never had anything like that, you know. And, you know, even though she was only 18, she knew so much more about that stuff than I did, you know. And
it's
so
kind of disturbing to know that it's like that this is like actually the reality of like a high school teenager. It's like everyone's getting laid at like from freshman year up.
Yeah. Well, after that experience, I kind of like tried to go out and date other people. I had sex with them most of the time. The thing is, girls, but like the women back then, they wanted to like please men so much. Like, I dated this one girl where I grew up, and she really wanted to please me a lot, and it was just like really bizarre because I don't really like oral sex that much, but she would always do that a lot, you know. And it's just like it was just crazy, like how much things were different back then than they are now. But I just remember a lot of really, really cool parties, a lot of really, really funny parties. There's this one party at my friend Ren's house. This is back when I was 16.
Yeah.
He had a party at his house, and we all got drunk, and then somebody told us the cops were coming.
Oh, Jesus.
So we ran down to, so we lived on Lake Lanier. I grew up in Dawsonville on Lake Lanier.
Yeah.
So we ran down to the lake. As we were running down there, I saw some shit like you see out of a fucking movie. Like, my friend jumped into the lake, grabbed one of those reeds that you can breathe through, and he stuck it up in the air like this, and he started breathing out of it in the water. My other friend jumped underneath the boat dock and went underneath the boat dock and just stayed there. And another guy literally jumped in a bush and grabbed some twigs, and he like put them like this, like he was trying to hide. And me and a couple of other people I knew, we were trying to get away, and all of a sudden the light flashes on us, and they're like, "Hey, freeze, freeze, freeze!" And we're like, "Oh shit, here we go." And so we get pulled back up to the house, and they have us in a line, and they're giving us breathalyzers. And my friend looks back at me and goes, "Hey man, I know a trick." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "They say if you put a penny in your mouth, it'll like confuse the breathalyzer." And I'm like, "Oh shit." And so I took the penny and put it in my mouth, and he did the same thing. This motherfucker blew like a .16, which is like, you know, drunk. And
yeah,
I blew like a 2.0, which
Jesus
is drunk,
Christ.
which is drunk. And we were like, fuck, we're screwed. So they were like, cops were like, "You call your parents and get the parents to come get you." And so like, at the time I had this friend who I was sort of dating, and I went and picked her up, and I had her in my arms. And I was like, "Okay, baby, we gotta go." And she was just like, "Oh, okay." So we like left, and my mom and my stepdad show up. My stepdad's like, "You guys okay?" We're like, "Yeah." I put her in the car. We go home. When we get back to my house, me and so that girl was actually friends with my sister. So initially she went and like laid in the bed with my sister, but then after my parents went to bed, she came and laid in my bed, and we like made out and like did stuff. So it was like, it ended up being like a crazy night, but then like it ended up like ending in a good way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really had something like that happen to me.
Yeah.
Mostly getting drunk, you know, in the back of people's houses, you know, just being a normal self-destructive teenager.
Yeah.
Just we used to box each other in the backyard really poorly. Pretty sure we have some brain damage from that.
Yeah. I mean, we had a party at my buddy Eric's house. So Eric, I had this friend named Eric. He was like a really cool dude, and he had like a 3-story house. So his parents were always on the top story, and we were down in the basement. So these motherfuckers never knew what the fuck we were doing down there. But we'd have the craziest shit happen down there. One time, we had a huge party down in the basement. We had these 2 really obese kids. His name was Homer and Alfie.
Jesus Christ. Goddamn Homer Simpson at your place.
Yeah, Homer and Alfie was their names. And we're all like sitting there drunk, and they decide to have a wrestling match. Like, Jesus. They just straight up like get down in a 3-point stance like they're playing football, and then they engage with each other. And it was such a crazy wrestling match that one of them got flipped over, hit the bed, broke the box spring, and launched my buddy across the room, and he hit the fucking wall. I think like a leg went through the wall, so we had to like fix the drywall like at some point. I just remember we had this one girl looking at them, and she was like, "Kill him, get him." It's just like, damn, dude, you want to see some blood or something, you know? It's just
right.
like, it was just like crazy. But like there's so many stories I could tell about Eric's basement. There was just so many things that happened down there. Like there was this one time my buddy Phil like fell asleep on a mattress, and my buddy Eric had like 5 or 6 mattresses just laying around. So we like stacked the mattresses on top of Phil, and then we put the rocking chair up on top of the mattress, and we took turns like sitting on it. And my friend Eric, who pretends to be like the straight edge, cool, like nice guy, gets up there and starts rocking in the rocking chair. And Phil, you hear him underneath. He goes, "Get off!" And like Eric jumps off, runs out to the other side of the room. Like Phil gets out. Eric goes, "What are you guys doing to Phil? What are you doing?" It's just like, dude, what? You were the one doing it to him. What are you talking about? You know? So it's just always funny. Like there were so many things that happened like that. One time we had like a giant war down in the basement, and we had like this mattress set up, and we turned out the lights. And so they were in the room side, we were in the back side where the pool was and the bathroom was, and then like the little living room area. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you just see like a fist come through the box spring, and they rip open the box spring, and it's like some shit from The Shining where he's like, "Here's Johnny." And like we run back to the bathroom, lock the door, and we're held up in there, and they start trying to knock, like they're trying to break down the goddamn door. It's like, dude, his dad's gonna be so mad about this. And like he comes through the ceiling with a giant pencil and starts like trying to poke us. And I swear to God, I can't make this up. He falls down out of the ceiling, tries to grab onto something, grabs the fucking like the water, like the shower head, and the water, and it breaks the shower head, and the water just comes whoosh, and just like starts spraying out. So we have to fix that. And another guy like didn't realize that we were done with the war, and he ran in there and he fucking broke the door. So then we had to fucking replace the door. Dude, we did, oh man, it was crazy, like the dumb shit that would go on in that basement, you know?
Yeah.
And I have tons of those stories, man, you know?
Dude, it sounds like you had a good time. I mean, my parents were a little overprotective and didn't let me go and do anything in high school. So when I got into college, I started just going wild and everything. Yeah. Doing whatever I wanted to, because I didn't have that outlet in high school as much. Like, I did stupid shit on the weekends, but I still had to come home. Like, I couldn't just disappear for a whole night and not show up. I mean, that really bugged them for some reason, but, you know, my brothers could do whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm the oldest one, so I guess they kind of thought I was, like, half retarded.
They probably thought you were half retarded.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it kind of makes sense. You know, you just you're strong. You know, they say if you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough, right? I was pretty strong, so they probably thought, okay, he is full retard. He's like not even Forrest Gump successful.
Man, you got that. You didn't get that from Forrest Gump. You got that from
Jackass. Yeah,
you're gonna be dumb. You gotta be tough.
That's a great song.
Yeah, it is.
But dude, yeah, when I was in college, we started going to like punk rock house shows and everything. Like, and we're talking about like rooms as big as the room we're in right now. Not very big, with a band in it and a mosh pit.
Damn.
And you're talking about like just people like beating the shit out of each other. Like, you're taking a shit because like the kitchen is also also has a toilet in it.
Yeah.
That was the funniest shit about this. The kitchen has a toilet in it at this house. And the venue, like where everyone's listening to music and having the mosh pit, is like only a door away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so you have people in the kitchen hanging out watching you take a shit. And then people are coming in and out to go to the bathroom. So there's no privacy. You're taking a shit while all these people are moving around. Gives you this new sense of comfortability. And I would say it definitely helped me out in the Marine Corps when it came to taking a shit with like no, like all you had was a bunch of dividers and no like doors. So you're just staring at your bed. You're staring at your best friend like right across the thing, like right across from you. Oop. And you're just talking to each other. Ignore the fact that you're just trying to hide each other's dicks with your hand. Like, yeah. Ugh. So you like baseball too?
Yeah, I mean that sounds really funny. I like hearing about stupid shit like that. It makes me realize that I'm not so much of an asshole myself, you know?
Yeah.
Because I've done so much dumb shit like that where I'm just like getting so much trouble. You know, like weird situations like that. And it sounds like that was like you've been in some situations. So, I mean, growing up for me was very like easy because like my parents didn't really care where I was at. Like my mom and my dad, they just never really asked me where I was at. They never kept up with me very much.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a bad thing too, I guess. I mean, they'd always be like, "Where are you at?" I'm like, "Here," and they're like, "Okay," and then that was that was the end of it. There was no like questioning or anything. That's just where I was, you know. They didn't know what kind of bullshit I was getting into. I mean, there was one time when my friend Phil started driving. He you know, we would pile into his car, and then he would like take the car, and he would run it through the median on 400 up in Dawsonville. He would just like start driving through the median, throwing donuts in the median, and I'm just like, damn, we're gonna go to jail, dude. What are you doing? And then we would go. We had this teacher, and that was not even in high school anymore. This was a teacher in 8th grade. And we just hated this motherfucker so much that even in high school, we went to this guy's house and we rolled his house. Like we rolled up to his house, and we had toilet paper, which breaks my heart now because toilet paper is expensive, and I like to
toilet paper is like cigarettes in prison.
Yeah, exactly. So we bought like a big pack of like cheap toilet paper. Went to his house with some eggs too. And we just started rolling his house. And we had a couple beers because my buddy's dad, Eric again in his fucking house, had his fridge. His dad always had that fridge completely packed out with beer. Yeah. It was always Miller Lite. And we would drink it. And then he rolled down to like we called him, his name was Mr. Clemens. We called him the Cleminator. And we rolled up to his house, and we rolled his fucking house. And I was like, I got an idea. Just bear with me on this one. So I uprooted his mailbox, put it on the ground, opened it up, squatted down, and took a big fat shit in his fucking mailbox. Put the mailbox back up, wiped my ass, and gave his mailbox a white beard. And my friends were like, "You just took it too far." I was like, "Oh yeah, I took it so far. You guys were throwing like we finished up by throwing eggs at the house, and that's when the lights came on and we drove off." And like,
oh my god,
like my friend Dustin, who would come with us, his house was right next door to this guy's house. So his idea was we had to roll his house so no one would suspect that it was him. And it's like, but we're staying at Eric's house, dude. Like, no one's going to know it's you dumb motherfucker.
Right.
You know? But he wanted to do that just to like, so he wouldn't, I don't know. He was so weird about that because he didn't want his mom figuring out what the fuck he was up to. Yeah, that's how it was being at Eric's house. Like we would always go fuck other people's houses up. Like with like, I remember junior, senior war. Oh. And that was very serious at my school. And when I was a junior, our junior senior war with the seniors was fucking insane. Like my friend Mike, my friend Dustin, and Murphy and a couple other my friends, we went super hard. We were in the back of my buddy's truck, and we had a lot of supplies. We went to this guy named Cody. His name was Cody. He was a senior. I'm not gonna say his last name. I don't want him to know it was us.
Yeah.
But we rolled up to his house, and as we were driving, my friend Dustin had a big, like sandbag, and he threw the sandbag at the mailbox and destroyed the mailbox. It just exploded because we were going so fast. And mail went everywhere. And then we found out all those seniors were at somebody's house. We rolled up to their house. We took a mortar. We took 3 mortars, tied them together, stuck them in the mailbox, lit them, and we taped the mailbox up. And as we were driving off, they all came out because we screamed at them. And my friend Dustin was like, "Fuck you, seniors of 06, kiss my ass." And all of a sudden, the mailbox just explodes.
Oh, God.
Like, it was such a huge explosion. We didn't expect it to be that big. But they, like, ran up to the driveway. They're like, "Get over here, you motherfucker." And they were trying to get us, and we fucking drove off. But like,
run after this car.
But they went super, like, we went super hard on those seniors, though, because, like, we went to at school. They had what's known as crew parking. That's what those seniors called themselves, was the crew. And my buddy Destin was like, "Fuck those motherfuckers, let's get them." And so we went out to their cars, and my friend Destin went hard, dude. He fucking, like, one of them had their sunroofs open, and he fucking popped a squat in his sunroof and took a shit in his car.
Is it kind of funny how, like, dudes, as like a dude in high school, taking a shit on someone's things was like the flex for some reason?
Yeah, it was like a huge flex. It was like, he's like, ugh, I just took a shit, yeah.
It's like, hey, it's that guy Alex's house. I'm gonna go take a shit on his doorstep.
But you know what was funny? The rap back then even talked about taking a dump, like
Tyler the Creator and like and Hobson or whatever.
Well, back when we were in high school, it was Gucci Mane and Young Jeezy and a couple of other guys that would always talk about taking a shit.
So it's kind of like the Young Jeezy thing died a little bit when I was like in middle school and early high school, and then we got like junior years when we got guys like Tyler the Creator and all that Odd Future stuff.
Were they talking about taking shits too?
Yeah, they're talking about like taking shit, slapping bitches and stuff, and you're just like I don't know what's going on anymore. The rules have been broken. Rap is different.
Yeah, well, it started with Gucci Mane had a song in high school called Icy, and in that song there was a part in the song where Young Jeezy just comes on and goes, "I'm the shit, bitch. I need toilet paper. Damn, get some air freshener. Fuck a hater." It's like, what?
Right?
What are you talking about, dude?
You know, I missed a party where Gucci Mane got out of prison.
Oh, and that's funny.
He actually showed up. Apparently, he showed up to this apparently he did show up to this punk rock house show.
No.
And was with them. I was like, I missed an opportunity to meet Gucci Mane. It's like, because I told myself I was going to study, and I was like, this is retarded. I should have gone. I mean, I was already planning on enlisting that year anyways.
Here's the thing, like all those guys, all those rappers back when I was in high school, I feel like they just didn't give a shit about anything. They just didn't care. That's why they would make these weird ass fucking songs. I mean, they had, like, I think Lil Wayne said one time in a song, he's like, I can smell it through the wrapper. Go ahead and put that shit in the pamper. It's like, what? And then like, I remember when I got into, like in 2009, when I was in college, it got even worse. Like literally, it got that type of rapping got to the point where Gucci Mane made a song called Mr. Perfect, and in the song he's like, my flow so awful, I'm barfing, I'm farting, I'm bawling, I'm pissing, I'm shitting, hide you sneezing. Still breathing. It's just like, damn, you took it really full circle with this shit. Like you weren't even making analogies anymore. It's just like, I'm shitting, I'm pissing.
You know, it's like it was like that it was funny because I really got into like this whole like craze with like Marilyn Manson's music and Korn, and then I started listening to more like punk rock. So I got into this band called The Mentors, and I accidentally stumbled upon the most degenerate human being in rock and roll history, G.G. Allin. And this man was the most vile and disgusting human being, where he's like, you just watch him like one of his old concerts, because he died in like 93, a month before I was born.
Yeah.
And he just like covers himself in his own shit.
Oh,
and he cuts himself and he throws it at people and he fights people, and you're like, but why? And you realize that when like you're saying, when rap music got really degenerate and stuff, is like, at least they never went to the lengths of like taking a dump on stage while they were rapping.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, but it all, like I said, it all went like full circle. They were like, ugh, I'm pissing, ugh, I'm shitting, and like talking about barfing. It's like they.
Bet you Gucci Mane saw G.G. Allin, and he's like, ew, that white boy's nasty, but I'm going to rap about it.
Well, it's just like the evolution of that was from high school all the way up to college, you know? And that's the kind of rap that we would listen to. Like a lot of the rap so I remember when I was in high school, what was really popular was crunk music. So like Little John, Little Scrappy, Trillville.
It's all so bad.
It's all so bad. And then another one is D4L. But we liked it though, and I still listen to it sometimes just because it's funny.
It's kind of like dubstep when that became a thing.
Yeah. Well, crunk didn't last very long. Crunk was cool from like 2003 all the way up to 2008 or 9, and then it just kind of like fizzled out. I mean, it kind of ended with Crime Mob. Crime Mob released their second album, and then that was it. Like all those groups just kind of faded out, you know.
You know, it's like I really started thinking about it. It's like I started partying when I was in college more than anything. Like we went to parties when we were in high school, but it's really when we went into college and I started like meeting new people and started hanging out with them that I actually started partying, because no one was like really caring what I was doing. I was like 19 years old, 20 years old at the time, and you'd get a case of beer and a couple of 40 ounces, strap them to your hands, and just go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, people 40 hands.
Yeah, and people don't do shit like I haven't done shit like that since I was like 25 or 26 years old. You know, I mean, my transition from high school to college wasn't really a big one. I think the biggest difference was there was a lot more freedom because my buddy went to West Georgia.
Yeah,
and at the time I wasn't really doing anything with my life. When I first graduated high school, for the first semester, I didn't go to college. I was working at a pizza place making pizzas, you know?
Oh, I remember this story.
Yeah. And then he just invited me. He would invite me down. And one time I went down there and, I don't know. It was just like, that was the first time I'd ever been to a fraternity party and all that. We went to West Georgia, went to a fraternity party, and, like, they had kegs and shit, and got really fucking drunk, and some girl stuck her tongue down my throat after I did a keg stand, and then I went in a room with that girl. Don't know what the fuck we did because I was really drunk, but I remember like I sobered up a little bit. We walked to McDonald's, and we were sitting there in line. This cute like goth girl was there, and she looks at me and goes, "Hey, what do you think about my navel?" And I'm like, "Your belly button?" She's like, "Yeah, you like it?" And I'm like, "I guess." She's like, "You want to lick it?" And I was like, "Sure." And I just licked her fucking belly button, man.
I had one of my buddies has like this huge indentation into his chest. So he went to a party one time. This is one of the parties I missed in high school, where some girls like put him out on a table, and he had like that deep like indentation in his chest, like I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Like almost like a crater. So what they did was they put milk and Fruit Loops in that crater and ate cereal off of them.
Oh shit!
It's like I was like, shit. I really wish I was there to see that. I just saw Battle of Los Angeles, but I would have loved to see that instead.
Yeah, shit was kind of crazy like that in college, right? It was just like,
Oh, that was high school.
Oh, was high school.
That was high school. No, I do like my life gets weirder though after I joined the military, because I have one of my buddies, Tony, who like he introduces me to this sidewalk slammer.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that man was like way older than me. I just found out it was all in the mustache.
Mm.
But yeah, he taught me about like the sidewalk slammer, kind of like the 40 ounces, like the Edward 40 hands. Started doing that on the weekends, and dude, I was getting fucking wrecked.
Mm.
Like what is it? One morning, my buddy Wilson and I, we just like we went and had like Taco Bell for breakfast. And then we bought like a couple of 40 ounces and a couple of Four Locos each, you know, so we could like go do them back-to-back sidewalk slammers. Within like a couple of hours, we already like destroyed these highly alcoholic drinks. It's a good thing we bought like extra Taco Bell, because I think we would have died. Because dude, like we ended up getting shit faced. I mean, we ended up like yelling at a guy who looked like Johnny Sins. Like a cop who looked like Johnny Sins, wondering why he was shooting a porno where we were at. And
damn,
it's like this dude was just like going with it. He's just watching us be degenerates and everything.
That's funny.
We went to a gas station while we were fucked up, because like I said, we started off drinking at 8 in the morning, and we had beers in our fridge already. So it's like we had a fully stocked fridge, just drinking the whole day. And then we got really mad because we were hungry. We want to go get a pizza, so we drunkenly walk to like the 7-Eleven that's near us, and we go in there. We go and buy a couple of Twisted Tea, like the tall boy ones, And he's like, and this one guy's like, he's like, are you guys drunk in here right now? Like, I was like, yeah, dude. We'll be honest with you, we're pretty fucked up right now. He's like, oh, cool. He's like, you guys are like the nicest drunks we've ever had and most well behaved. I was like, yeah, I mean, it's because you get a bunch of crackheads in here usually.
Oh my God.
Anyways, a crackhead comes in, and I was like, wait, y'all been drinking since 8 in the morning? Y'all is irresponsible. And my buddy Wilson turns around, and he's like, hey, at least we don't suck dick for our fix, motherfucker.
Oh my God.
Crackhead gets really mad and just walks out, like, very cartoonishly, like, so I can't believe they judged me on me sucking dick for crack.
Yeah, a lot of judgment there.
Yeah.
Well, that fucking crackhead should know that, like his life choices are very out of the ordinary for most normal people.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Can't really be that upset about that the guy was like getting judged, you know?
I'm getting judged because I smoke crack? What is this? I thought this was America.
I thought this is America. This is America.
What tarnation?
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things that's like, you know, some of the stories that I've told about growing up in high school and college, some people think I'm making them up, you know? And it's just like, well, no, I'm not making them up. I mean, I have so many people that can confirm those stories. It's just like, they were just crazy. I mean, we had a party in high school when I was a senior at my buddy Eric's house. And, you know, it was a rager.
Yeah.
And his family, I don't even know if his family even knew that we had such a huge party downstairs. And the cops showed up again. And, like, when they found out the cops were coming, people all of a sudden became like, you know, Olympic athletes all of a sudden. Like,
yeah.
Like, I knew a guy, like, when they found the cops were coming, my buddy grabbed a bamboo stick and did a pole vault over the fucking fence and, like, ran into the woods. Another guy fucking sprinted at full speed. Like, you'd swear to God, it was like the Olympics or something.
Yeah.
You know? I saw a girl fucking swimming in the pool, trying to get out of the pool. Man, she was going so fast. I think she broke her own fucking record, you know? And it's just like,
why run around the pool when you could swim through it?
Yeah, swim through it. And I'll never forget, the cop came in there, saw beer pong set up in the underneath the porch, and saw everybody like drinking. And he goes, "You guys aren't going anywhere, are you?" And we're like, "No." And he's just like, "Keep it that way." And he just left. And we just went right back to what we were doing before.
He was probably like right about done with his shift, and he's like, I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah. I mean, there was another situation where the cops came, and it was just a small party at Eric's house. I mean, we got drunk in the basement off of wine and, like, stuff, and because, you know, that's what you had to do when you're a teenager. You just found whatever alcohol you could find.
Yeah, it's like the Mad Dog 2020s.
Yeah.
It's like trash.
The cops showed up, and I went into the back room, and I was crossfaded. I was, like, high, and I was drunk. I was 17 at the time.
Yeah.
And I went into the other room, and I didn't know the cops were in there. And I remember, like, walking out there, hearing somebody talk, and I kind of just step out and, like, look. The cops didn't see me, but my friend was like... And so I just kind of, like, moved back, and I just kind of stood there and listened. And the cops were fucking leaving. But then my friend Phil was like, question. And, like, I remember my friend Murphy, I saw him, he was like, no, please, just let him go.
Yeah.
And he was just like, he's like, question. What's it like doing your type of job? And, like, I was just like, sitting there, I was like, oh my God, Phil, stop. And, like,
right.
They just kept talking to him, and then finally they left. And I remember my friend Murphy was like, Phil, you are a fucking idiot. What is your fucking problem, dude? They were gonna leave. Let them fucking leave, man. I was like, they obviously knew we were fucked up. I mean, look at Daniel over there. Daniel was wearing a fucking like a football helmet type thing, and, like, passed out on the fucking chair. Like, they knew we were fucked up. They just didn't do anything about it, you know? And Phil was just pressing his luck, you know?
I saw a situation one time happen. I could only imagine what was going on, but it was looked like it was in the like in one of the barracks. A bunch of these guys, like, were running around in their, like, their flax and their fucking Kevlars, wearing only their underwear as their only bit of clothing, and their boots. and they all had like these sticks, and it looked like they were getting ready to have like a fight, and apparently they just beat the shit out of each other like that.
Damn.
Like, yeah, that's good. Like one day I went over to the barracks because my wife used to make empanadas and everything, and we'd give them to the guys at the barracks for like for fun and everything because they were having football. They were having like football games going on throughout that time, and the staircase smelled spicy.
Oh,
so what happened was apparently this was like when the government shut down or some shit. The guys from like Intel got into a fight with each other in the in the stairwell. So the guys in PMO come over there and start like spraying them with OC spray.
Oh wow.
That's funny. Like hearing some of the shit that happened in the barracks, and like then having like 6 months where I was hanging out with those guys was like great because my buddies and I would just get like shit house drunk. Like all we would do is like go and work out for 3 hours and then go and get like shit house drunk.
Damn.
like it's like no going to the club or anything. Just, hey, what are we gonna do? We're gonna buy a 12-pack of Coke and a bottle of McCormick's Canadian whiskey. It's like, oh god, this shit is like terrible straight, but when you mix it, it's gold.
Dude, McCormick's is terrible. I hate that shit.
Dude, it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
McCormick's Canadian whiskey is got to be like
I've had McCormick's vodka.
Oh, dude, everybody who at my old job who would get that, it's like, there was problems.
Yeah.
You're just like looking at them I'm like, man, I thought I was a drinker, but you bring it to a whole new level, man.
Yeah, McCormick's is one of those things. It's like this, when I was in high school, McCormick's was always the go-to. So was Barnett's because it was just like easy to find. People could get it for you. And then the go-to beer was either Miller Lite or Red Dog.
I know, like we were a little bougie with our beers. We went for the Miller High Life when I was in college.
There was a time in high school where I got to the point where like I started liking craft beers because my dad would keep them in his fridge. And so we had a guy that would buy us beer, and I started showing up to parties with craft beers, and that kind of changed everybody's perspective. Like I would show up with like Guinness, or I'd show up with like Newcastle, just these different types of beers that these people have never had before, because everybody's used to drinking like shitty beer like Natural Light or Keystone Light, or like all these different like shitty like light beers that everybody's like had.
It's like Bud Light. Bud Light is the cornerstone of like all drunken alcoholic teenagers.
Yeah. I mean, we had Bud Light. It was just, I'll be honest with you, we drank a lot of Miller Lite, but the beer that we drank the most was Natural Light. I don't know why Natural Light was that beer, but it was that beer in high school that we would drink all the time. Like every time there'd be a party, somehow Natural Light would be there, and I'd always be like,
What was that Walgreens beer you told me about one time?
Big Flats.
Yeah, I remember when you have like when you got a Big Flats, it wasn't because you were trying to get like any flavor. Like you should have just bought a pack of Natties.
Dude, you could get a 6-pack of Big Flats back in the day for $2.99. That's when I was in college. Like that was 2012. You could get a 6-pack of Big Flats for $2.99, and I just couldn't believe how cheap that beer was. But it was never me that bought that. I told him like Gnome would buy that stuff, and I'd always be like, bro, this is the worst shit I've ever had in my life. But that's back when I was trying to do that show, The Drunken Bastard, where I was like trying to review different beers, and I always thought like I did an episode about Big Flats, and I remember I tried the Big Flats, and my character just started crying because it was like so bad. But that show was really funny. I like that. Like the thing I liked about doing that show is it was kind of like an outlet for my creativity, but I also liked trying beers too. So it's like kind of incorporate the two. You know what I'm saying?
I think powerlifting and alcoholism go together quite well.
Yeah.
Especially if you lift heavy weights, you got to drink heavy beers. So you got to drink a bunch of Guinness.
Yeah.
Or you got to drink a bunch of fucking McCormick's whiskey and hope for the best the next day.
Well, that's the thing. Like when I was in high school, I was a power lifter. Like I went to competition like 3 times, like sophomore year, junior year, and senior year. I was in competition. Like I competed against people in my weight class. My weight class was 200 pounds to 220. that was my weight class I was competing in, you know?
Yeah. It's like, right now, I've got one, I'm going to be getting into one in November.
Yeah.
And that's going to be my first one ever. So I'm hoping to see where that goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, when I was doing that stuff in high school, it was pretty fun. I mean, it was very easy going, and it wasn't too hard. You know, I mean, also, you know, I was also 17, between 15 to 17 years old, so it was a lot easier for me to lift often. You know,
Yeah.
When I was in high school, my bench was 425. My squat was close to 600 pounds. And my power clean was 325, 350 or something like that. Because we didn't do deadlift as the second or the tertiary lift. It was always
an Olympic lift.
It was an Olympic lift, and it was hard. Like power clean is one of the hardest lifts ever, and I really struggled just being able to do 300 pounds. 300 pounds was like almost impossible for me. And that's because my form wasn't the best, you know. But there's some guys in there that I would see do like 400 pounds because their form was like perfect, and they were smaller than me. You know, when I was in high school, the same guy, Eric, had the house. He was a really good he was a really good like weightlifter too. He was in the 160 class, and he was really strong for his size.
Yeah, for 160.
Yeah, he was benching 285. His squat was like 350, and his power clean was like 200 pounds. Like he was a beast, you know, and he'd always like rank pretty high when we'd go to competition because we competed against Sequoia. And that's just something we would do. And it's just surprising that, like, you know, you're talking about the drinking thing. It was just surprising that me and Eric were able to do that competition, even though we were like
drunks.
Like we drank a lot, you know?
Yeah. It's kind of like showing up to like a PT in the morning or something, and you're just fucking wasted. Because you drank a whole bottle of McCormick's with your buddy, and you're just like, oh god, this is gonna suck.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, and I always stress this to people, when it comes to football, though, I really was like I could have been a really good football player, but I just wasn't aggressive enough. You know?
Yeah.
When I would get mad, I would knock the shit out of people, and they would like fucking fall on the ground, and they would be in a lot of pain. And my coach would be mad at me, be like, "Why can't you do that every time?" I'm like, "I'm not aggressive like that.
Yeah.
You know, I can't do this. Like, I can't go 100% like that all the time. It's just not my personality. And if I could do it all again, I probably would have just played something like tennis.
Yeah.
Like something like low impact, you know, competitive type sport.
Doesn't
like
fuck
that.
up your body.
Yeah, I would have probably played tennis or something. I did track. I probably would have did track and tennis, honestly, because those are pretty good sports in my opinion.
Yeah, you know? I mean, they like all those sports are pretty nice. I mean, doing any team sport's kind of fun. I mean, I kind of wish when I was in high school, I at least attempted to do football or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was just a fat kid who loved the arts.
Fat kid who loves the arts. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really. I mean, in high school, I had moments where I got kind of heavy, and that was like really during the off season. But during like the season, I was in pretty good shape. I was in really decent shape, and I was like, by the time my senior year rolled around, I was really fucking strong and big, and I just remember like when the football season ended, I was just like, man, I'm so over playing sports, man. I just want to go have fun. So then, like, I remember when football season ended in the spring of my senior year, that's when shit went fucking crazy because, like, my GPA was good. I had, like, a 3.5 GPA.
Yeah.
So I was, like, doing pretty good. So me and my buddies would skip a lot and go party.
Nice.
You know? I mean, there's a party that I actually didn't go to, but I heard about one time my senior year. It was at this guy his name was Adam Green. He had a party. And the cops showed up, and when the cops showed up, people were trying to get out of there trying to get out of there so much. Like, my friend jumped off the roof into the pool, swam through the pool, got out of the fucking pool, jumped the fence, and ran in the woods. And he ran for miles in the woods. He ran so far that he ran out of the woods into the road, and one of our friends just happened to be driving at the time and picked his ass up. And I'm just like, what? And they ended up going with them, and they came back to the house back to Eric's house. Funny enough, talk about Eric all the time, and he was there, and we were like, "Where you been?" And he told us that story, and we were like, "Holy shit, that's crazy." I mean, there's been so many situations like that. When I was in college one time, I came back home. My buddy Anthony, I told you about Anthony. He's my best friend. Me and Anthony went with a mutual friend of ours named Mike Murphy, and this guy named Michael Verena. This is Michael Verena and Murphy McDaniel and Michael G. And we went to this party in Lula. It was like a fucking redneck party.
Yeah.
And we roll up in there, and me and Anthony were a little scared because, like, me and Anthony wear like polo and shit. We're not rednecks, and neither were my other friends, to be honest. So we go in this house, and I see like 60-year-old dudes getting drunk with like teenagers and like people in their early 20s, and I'm like, whoa, dude, there's like old people partying with young people. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, this redneck guy goes, "Hi, man, Chip's one of us. Fuck you, fat ass. I'll kick your ass." And I clenched my fist. And I was about to go kick this guy's ass, and my buddy Anthony goes, "Don't do it, dude. Like, there's so many motherfuckers here, we would die." He's like, if he says it, I kind of looked at him, and I didn't do anything. I just flicked him off like this, and the guy like walked around and goes, "Whatever, man." He like walks away. And I looked at Anthony. I was like, "Dude, I wanted to kick his ass. You should have just let me kick his ass, dude." He's like, you don't understand, man. We can't fight these people. There's so many of them.
There's so many of them.
Yeah. So we end up going over to the beer pong table, and there's like so many rednecks. I'm talking like 20, 30, 40 rednecks. And Anthony's standing there wearing like a pink polo, light blue pant, like jeans, fucking boat shoes, because he worked at Van Heusen, and he had to wear that. And I'm over there wearing like a cut off like polo with some like cargo pants, some boat shoes, and I have like some Ray-Bans. And this redneck standing there with some boots on. He looks at my friend and he goes, "Man, if I didn't know any better, I'd say you suck dick." and the comeback from Anthony was so priceless. He goes, "Well, you would know." And like, I looked at Anthony, I was like, "Oh my God, this guy's about to fight Anthony." And the redneck goes, "Oh, whatever, man." He just like walks away. That guy that talked shit to me, I looked at Anthony and he goes, "I want to kick his ass so bad." Like, he's over there playing beer pong, acting like he's big shit. Because this guy was like nowhere near as big as me, dude. Like, I could have fucking killed him with one punch. And I was just like, man, It started getting really bad because they all started like looking at us and talking, and me and Anthony were like, "We gotta go." So me and Anthony grabbed the other three assholes, and we left. And we get in the back of the car, and like the story keeps getting crazier from there. So we decided to go to this girl's house over in Cumming. You know, I think this was back in 2008 or 2009 when I first started college, and we went to this girl's pool. This was in Cumming, and they were twins. They were two black girls. They were twins, and Mike wanted to go there because he liked one of them or something. And Anthony was drunk. Mike was drunk. The other Mike was high, and I was high. And the reason why we got high was because when we were riding out there, he goes, "Hey guys, like a couple days ago, I threw some weed out the window and it's on the side of the road." And I remember my friend Anthony was like, "There's no way you're going to find that shit. That motherfucker found it." We like pulled over on the side of the road, and he's like, "Oh, it's over here somewhere." And then he finds it, and we're just like, what the fuck?
Right.
So we go to this place, we're partying and chilling, and all of a sudden, this like the cops are coming, and it's like, "Oh God, here we go again." And like we're like, "We got to run." And Anthony's sitting in the pool, and he's like, "I haven't done anything wrong. And he had like two beers in his hand. He's like, "Oh, we got to go." So me and Anthony are running with each other, and we run to this like clearing next to this house in this subdivision, and we're just like sitting there posted up next to this fence. And I go, "Dude, what are we gonna do?" And he's like, "I don't know, man. We just need to chill." And we look up at the window, and it looked like a mannequin was in the window. But then I saw a phone come up to the mannequin's head. And I go, "Anthony, that's not a mannequin. That's a person." And he goes, "That's a mannequin, dude. What are you talking about?" And like we started looking at each other. I was like, "I'm telling you, it's a fucking man. I'm telling you, it's a fucking person. Because it's a fucking mannequin." And we look back up. The mannequin was gone. It was a dude calling the cops because he saw us like next to his fucking fence.
Yeah.
So we started running. And we ended up getting out of there. But, like, it was just crazy how, like, we didn't die, you know? So, but that's another story from, like, when I was in college.
So we had a story. Here's one from high school,
Yeah.
where we had to get a wino to help us out. So my buddy sends us over to this one chick's house that he knows out in, I think it was Lawrenceville. So we drive from Decula to Lawrenceville, and we're over there. And okay, this woman is high on acid, by the way, and she's got two roommates that stay with me and my two other buddies, right? And she goes with my other buddy's car, right? Because it was like five. There's like 5 dudes or something. No, it was like all 4 of us. Anyways, he goes off and he also picked up his brother or something. Like, the car was already like way too packed to house this many people and booze at the same time. But they go there. Apparently, this bitch looks suspicious the whole time because she's tripping balls on acid. And she forgot to buy all of her liquor. And she's holding it. And so when she comes back, she tries to negotiate with us because she's pissed off. And he's like, how about I buy it from you? It's like, no, you didn't buy any of yours. You bought all of our stuff, right? By the way, my buddy didn't even do the money handoff at all to her. She's like, all right, I guess we're going to go take this outside. By the way, we're outside as this is happening. All this drama is happening. Angrily walks into her house, and I'm like, let's get the fuck out of here. So a bunch of dudes are piling up into this car. Like I said, there's like 2 extra guys. So it was like already packed with like 4 guys earlier. Now there's like 6, 7 guys in there laying on top of each other in the back. And we're just driving the hell out of there so that we don't have to pay this wino.
Damn.
Yeah.
So y'all just made it look like a clean getaway, huh?
Yeah. Dude, when we got to the house though, right? Everyone's tried to like grab my beer immediately because they killed one of my buddy's bottles of vodka that he bought for himself while he was in the bathroom. So they completely killed it. Then they tried to grab my beer when we came back with more stuff, and I was like, no. Grab like 15 different beers, and I'm wearing a leather jacket and some cargo pants. I'm just shoving that shit in there, right? Yeah. So the rest of the party, and I grabbed like 2, so I grabbed like 15, stuffed them in all the pockets and everything, right? Then I had like 2 extra in my hand. I was like, all right, now everybody else can go. Starts like just drinking. You remember like the Adam Sandler movie, That's My Boy?
Yeah.
Where he just has like a Budweiser wherever he's going.
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense. That's how it was the rest of the party. I was like, all right, pocket beer. And everyone's like, wait, where did you get beer? I was like, well, you see, it's a mystery. It's sometimes in this pocket, sometimes in another pocket, and I'm just getting fucked up. I had like 17 beers that night. That was the most I ever had when I was in high school. And dude, people were so amazed that like for about until like 3 a.m, I was still pulling beers out of my clothes.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. I mean, I had a friend like that who would just have random beers in his car in high school and college. He would mainly high school. He would just, he even had like in high school, his family was so straight edge. Like you'd go out there in his yard and he'd have like beer buried in the ground. And I'm like, what is this? Like fucking some fucking pirate shit, you know?
I would love it if he went out there with like a metal detector. It's like,
oh, look what we got.
Look what we got here, boys. Starts digging.
It's like there's some gold. There's gold in them hills. Liquid gold right here.
It's about 2 years old.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we didn't give a shit. We still drank it because we didn't know how old it was. But we still would drink it, and luckily it was like fall/winter, so the beers were still pretty cold.
Yeah,
you know, because the ground is pretty cold around that time of the year.
Just imagine having to drink warm beers in the spring or summer.
God, that would be terrible. I'd want to kill myself.
Dude, the worst thing you can drink is like a warm Heineken. We used to drink like warm Heinekens in my buddy's basement.
Yeah.
Back when we were we were in high school. If like we could, like we stole his dad's Heinekens because he'd get too drunk and forget how many he had.
Well, we were fucking stupid. Like we liked beer so much back then in high school. that high school and part of college that we would go and buy like, you know how they have those bubbler water things? Like it's a giant beer bottle and it would have like, it would bubble water and stuff in it because it was like you know, they had like those neon signs and shit, but this is like it was like a bubbling water, like novelty like looking thing. And we liked beer so much, we thought it'd be a good idea just to fill it up with beer. I don't know why we thought that would be a good idea, but when we did that, like 2 weeks later, it started smelling rotten because the beer was getting basically like moldy inside that thing. And I'm just like, why did we do this?
Why did we ruin this?
But yeah, it was a Miller Lite bottle, and I think we bought it from a novelty store or something. It might have been Spencer's or something. But we had that. We had like the old liquor bottles filled up with the highlighter, like stuff. You dip it in there, the highlighter stuff in there, and it would like turn the water like that neon color. And then when you put a black light over it, it looked really cool. But that's something we did in the basement. But folks, we're like at the end of this podcast, but to kind of wrap things up,
we're pretty fucking retarded.
Yeah, we're pretty stupid. Like, so I don't know if any, you know, in the comments section below, if you guys want to tell some of your funny like high school / college stories, because you know I'm sure we'll talk about more of ours in the future.
Yeah.
If you have any really funny like stories or anything, please comment down below and like tell us exactly like some of the stuff that you guys have gotten into, because we'd like to hear from you guys.
Anything you say might be interesting. I mean, life is like reality is stranger than the works of fiction.
Yeah, it really is. But be sure to share this podcast. Be sure to give our videos a like. Be sure to subscribe. Like I said, hit the bell notification. Check out our website, www.dumbcoolweird.com, and check out our merch store and become a patron so we can give you some of our fun BTS videos. But we appreciate you checking out the first episode of the podcast. We have a lot of really cool stuff coming in the future. And you know, to sort of wrap up what we just talked about, basically high school for me and college for me was just a lot of fun. It was crazy. Like I said, I have a lot of stories. You know, I'm thinking about adapting this into a movie one day, maybe, because it's been so nuts. But it's been a lot of fun. And, you know, my adulthood is obviously not as exciting as my high school and college years. I've become a bit of a person who has a corporate job, but also has like, you know, I have my own business where I shoot video. So it's like my adult life is not as necessarily as exciting as my formative years, but it was fun. Being a millennial in the early 2000s and being a millennial in the mid 2000s in college was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, and it was definitely a fun experience for me. And I think that's something that I want to tell a story to a lot of people, and I want people to hear that story, you know?
I mean, my adulthood, honestly, is a lot better because I enlisted when I was like 23, 24 years old. So I'm going to tell you right now, when you're like the old guy with like a bunch of younger people, you're just like doing frat boy shit all day.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, you know,
it was a different experience just because.
Well, I was lucky. I was lucky that I had good friends that I would go stay with, like my buddy Eric. I was very lucky that, you know, I had that because, like I said, my family never really asked me what I was doing half the time. You know, I could have been doing really bad stuff, but even though we were drinking and smoking weed and doing all these different things, it still was not a bad life. Growing up in Dawsonville, in that small town, doing all that crazy ass shit that we probably should have went to jail for some of that stuff, honestly. Wasn't really a bad life. It was a lot of fun. And, you know, I encourage y'all to comment, like I said, down below. You know, if you grew up in a small town, grew up in a slightly larger like suburb, or grew up in the city, tell us about your experiences there. We would like to hear it. I'm sure Nick would like to hear some of your stories too, as would I, you know.
Seriously, if you're also weren't in the military, send us a wild ass story on that one, because I know many of you guys have those like stories.
Yeah.
If you don't, what did you do?
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, yeah, just you know, keep listening, and we're gonna have more fun stuff for you in the future. And check out episode 2. That'll be coming the next week after this, and it's gonna be a surprise. So, all right, you guys have a good one, and have a dumb, cool, weird kind of day.
Yep. Stay sexy, Atlanta.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Dumb, Cool, and Weird podcast with Wes and Nick. If you want to check out more of our stuff, go to www.dumbcoolweird.com. You'll find our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Patreon link if you want to support us. Also, be sure to check out our merch store. And if you're interested in being on our podcast, you can find a link on our website so you can reach out to us and tell us if you want to talk to us about something that's really weird, dumb, or cool. We'd be glad to hear from you. Hope you will stay tuned for the next weird ass episodes we got. Thank you.